The news of a dog in tactical gear, not to mention holding up Rocky, was met with great surprise from the team. While most carried looks of concern as Rocky was donated several pup treats, Chase's mind was turning. A dog in gear like that, the only thing that came to his head was a SWAT team. But what was a SWAT team doing in Adventure Bay? Nothing in the island's history has ever required such a military reaction. He figured as law enforcement he should know a thing or two about a military presence, or even be tied to it directly. "I've never heard anything like that before," Chase inquired, eyes gazing to the floor. "I'm not making it up," Rocky frowned, reaching down to munch on a treat. "Didn't say you were?" The two dogs were talking up in the lookout, Rocky seated comfortably in a green dog bed, a pile of treats at his paws. Chase was sitting a few inches away lying on his stomach, trying to make sense of all this new information. The other pups including Ryder had already had their moment to talk to Rocky, but Chase anxiously sought out more to learn. Did he have a badge? No, the mixed breed shook his head. "I think he said some things, but I don't remember." "Sorry." Chase waved off his apology. "It's fine, get well buddy." The sound of a door opening made the two dogs turn their heads. Ryder had quickly entered the room and switched on the intercom. "Paw Patrol to the lookout," he commanded into the mic, calling out his catchphrase. Chase merely got up and walked over, looking up at Ryder. "Is this about the dog?" "No, Chase, new issue," Ryder replied, "although we should get on that." A few moments later, the elevator to the lookout quickly opened, revealing the remaining 6 pups all overturned on the backs. Marshall was giggling nervously, and Zuma could be seen rolling his eyes. Rocky gave a bored expression. "Did Marshall dash?" "Yes, Marshall crashed into us," Zuma finished, again. "Sorry," the Dalmatian gave a shy smile. "It's okay." Rubble chirped. Ryder quickly moved to the front of the room while the pups dressed in their uniforms and got into formation. Chase wasted no time slipping into his police gear and catching his hat on his head. It was a trick he taught himself and earned a killing in treats. "Ready for action, Ryder sir," the shepherd saluted. "Thanks for hurrying, pups," Ryder smiled. "We have a situation down in Adventure Bay. A woman and her dog have gone missing." "Oh no." Rubble drew back, fear in his eyes. Ryder quickly brought Chase's logo on the screen, ready to give the pup his directions. "Chase, I'll need you to direct traffic with your cones and investigate the scene. Try and figure out what's happened." "Chase is on the case." "Rocky," the boy continued, "you'll be helping Chase look for clues since you have a knack for finding little things of value." "Green means go." Rocky held his paw up in a salute. "Great, Paw Patrol is on A." "Wait." Sky jumped up. "What can I do?" Everyone turned their heads, a mix of confusion and awe in their eyes. It was almost unheard of to interrupt a mission briefing. "Sky?" Ryder raised an eyebrow at the cockapoo. "Well," she traced her paw along the ground, "usually I'm involved in these kinds of things. Can I have air support or dash?" "Aren't you sick?" "Just a little," the pup insisted. "It hasn't really gotten worse." "Hasn't gotten worse, yet hasn't gotten better?" Chase tilted his head. "All right, fine," Ryder surrendered, "but you can only provide watch from the skies, no crazy exertion that could make you worse." The small dog nodded, satisfied with her role. "This pup's gonna fly." Her voice was noticeably weaker. Chase, Rocky, and Sky all jumped to action, leaping onto the slide as their rigs below configured into their vehicle modes. Chase landed on his police cruiser and revved the engine, happy for some action to take his mind off of recent events. Rocky jumped into his garbage collector, smiling the whole way down. With a triumphant howl, the mixed breed took the controls and took to the street. Sky was last, jumping into her helicopter and lifting into the air in no time. With Ryder leading the way on his AV, they sped away from the tower into the action they were so well accustomed to. As the wind blew through Rocky's fur and ears, he couldn't help but laugh a little. Chase wondered deep down if the mixed breed had a secret love for drag racing. Sky quickly veered off, taking her helicopter to higher skies. As much as she wanted to join the team for real, she remained obedient to Ryder's orders and piloted to a position that would give her a great view of the bay. All she had to do was relay anything she saw, even if it was a little boring. The pups down below quickly sped through town, people and pups alike stopping to wave at them. Chase paid them no mind, as there was a job to do. They eventually stopped in front of a mid-class house, coming to a stop. It was a nice and humble stead for someone with not too much money yet enough to live on. The yard was well kept, with a brown-picked fence bordering around it, not much leading up to the house other than a stone path. The house itself was average-sized, blue in color, with a black roof. The door was a lovely shade of red, looking rather inviting to someone bringing over a plate of cookies or pup treats. A lonely mailbox stood in front of the property. Chase instantly jumped out and grabbed his traffic cones with his teeth, beginning to dot them out to direct incoming cars from the scene. Rocky hopped out of his own vehicle and walked out up the path, coming toward the door. There was a doggy door installed below, reminding Rocky that the owner had a dog. Leaning forward to sniff the door, he caught a whiff of vanilla. An odd smell, yet pleasing to the nose. The mixed breed shrugged and pushed himself through the door. "Hey guys?" Sky spoke from the radio, catching the attention of Ryder and Chase. "Sky?" Ryder responded, "Did you find the missing persons?" "Well, no," she said apologetically, "but there's something else down there I can see." "Sky, don't report anything unless it's relevant to the mission," he replied in annoyance. "No, Ryder, I can see like 6 pup vehicles all speeding down the streets." "Pup vehicles?" Ryder blinked in confusion, "Like our rigs?" "Yeah, but a lot less colorful. They're coming your way." "I'll check it out." Ryder sprang up and jumped back on his AV. Chase quickly turned and followed him, "But sir, the mission." "Take it from here, Chase, I know you can." The boy turned from his ride. "I don't know any other dogs that have rigs like ours. I'll be back soon." With a final look at Chase, Ryder sped off back into the street, hunting for the mysterious rigs. Chase suddenly felt much smaller than usual, even though it was a feeling he should have been having often, being a puppy and all. With a deep breath, he turned back to the house and started sniffing up the path. Meanwhile, Rocky was hard at work inside the house. With cheerful humming, he had summoned the metal claw from his pup pack, expertly using it to clean up the rooms. A lot of trash was sprinkled around, a soda can here and there, some chip bags, and a whole pizza box. Cleaning was his specialty, and there was something almost therapeutic about turning a room from filthy to spotless. He let out a grunt of annoyance when he discovered a whole room with several spots of mud. "Doesn't anyone wipe their feet anymore?" he inquired, but shrugged and went to get a sponge from his rig. Chase was outside, slightly distracted as a beetle crossed his view. His eyes suddenly shot up as he heard the screeching sound of multiple cars. He picked up his head in alarm, eyes staring out into the street as a large number of pup vehicles all drove up at once, smothering his traffic cones. "Hey, you can't dash," he started to say. "Get on the ground," a voice barked out, as dogs flooded out of the rigs. Chase drew back in alarm when he realized all the dogs were wearing dark tactical gear, almost exactly like Rocky described. But this wasn't one dog, it was a dozen, and now they were all here. The shepherd was at a loss for words when the armored animals strapped on pup packs of their own, each one sporting a full metal and incredibly real assault rifle. "Wadash," Chase tried to say. "I said on the ground, now," the trooper shouted through its mask, jumping over the fence in front of him. a yellow taser quickly extended out of his pack. The inner puppy within Chase seemed to come out, as he quickly threw himself to the ground. His voice was gone, replaced with whimpers as his courage left him. Quivering, his ears went flat, and his mind swirled with fear as he lay staring ahead at the tufts of grass. "Paws behind your head," came the new order, and he obeyed. He flinched as he felt his paws get zip-tied together. Around him, he could hear multiple troopers all streaming around the property. His pup pack was quickly torn off and tossed aside, and he felt his collar get clipped off and thrown into the grass. The loss of his tag cut off all communication with Sky and Ryder. "Quarantine the area, nothing gets out until cleared," shouted someone. "There are 2 vehicles out here," the trooper continued, noticing Rocky's garbage collector. "Where is the other dog?" "Inside," Chase cried. Inside, the tactical dog recoiled. He could be contaminating the whole site. "What's going on?" a new voice came, one sounding more authoritative. "The second dog is inside, within the biozone, sir." "What?" The dog also recoiled, then turned to the rest of the dogs. "Break down the door and get him out." Rocky could hear the commotion from the inside. He was just about to hit the front door to walk outside, needing his sponge to banish the muddy mess that plagued the room. When the sound of cars screeching in, complete with shouting, Rocky stopped and peeked out the window. The sight of the exact dogs who scared him yesterday filled him with more fear than water ever could. Seeing Chase not only arrested but being painfully driven to the ground as a trooper was standing on his head, filled him with confusion and panic. He turned and ran, turning into the room and frantically searching with quickened breath for a place to hide. His heart skipped when the sound of shattering wood and glass rang out through the house. "Hallway clear," came a voice. Rocky felt frozen to the floor, his mind spinning as it tried to think of any possible way out. Could he run from them? Could he hide from them? Should he give himself up? What were they going to do to him? What would they do to him if he ran? The trooper instantly rounded the corner, catching sight of the mixed breed, and instantly drew back, aiming down the rifle. "On the ground, paws above your head." "What did I do?" Rocky quivered, voice nearly breaking with fear. "Pup, you better get on the fucking ground right now." The trooper's gun made a clicking noise, meaning it had just been cocked and ready to fire. Life flashed before his eyes. Rocky threw himself to the ground as tears fell from his eyes. He felt his pup pack get torn off his body, and his paws were zip-tied. Chase cried in protest as the dogs grabbed his tied paws, catching them with a small hook from their packs. He was dragged out of the yard and into a large van-like vehicle, dark green in color. As he looked back, Chase could see another dog watching him, a dog different from the troopers. It was a Belgian Malinois, brown and black in color, dressed in darker gear. The hardy dog narrowed his amber eyes at Chase, holding the gaze until the doors were shut. Patrol. Locked in the back of the military van, Chase was dragged into a small holding kennel. The next few minutes were not something he'd ever want to live again. His uniform was stripped away. He either sneezed, coughed, or shook his head as he was bludgeoned with tests. At that moment, Chase wished he could melt into the floor. He had never felt so powerless in his entire life. Every moment he could, he backed up into the corner of the kennel, making every attempt possible to shield himself. "We got the readings back on his uniform," a trooper noted through his mask, tall brown ears coming through his helmet, no cross-contamination. "Well, that's one good thing," muttered another, a shorter trooper with black flopping ears. "Initiate bioscan." Chase had 100 questions, but fear had sealed his muzzle. His tail was curled underneath him, like letting it out for even a moment would get it chomped off. A beeping noise suddenly came from above, and Chase looked upward to see a small device on the top of the kennel. A fine, grid-shaped laser was suddenly emitted, passing through Chase forward and backward. The puppy's breathing had not yet slowed, and every new instrument activated made him feel even closer to wetting the floor. The two troopers read some data on the tablet, then quickly collected their things and jumped out of the van, leaving Chase alone. He stayed cowering in the corner, waiting several minutes before finally lifting his ears again. With one brown paw in front of the other, the puppy crept to the iron gate of the cage and peeked out, careful to make little to no noise. The walls of the van were lined with dark metal plating, each with shelves and racks for various things. A footlocker compartment was in view just across from him, locked tightly with various bolts. The shelves carried spare helmets, a worn set of gloves, and discarded equipment Chase couldn't place the meaning of. His eyes soon fell to his blue pup pack, thrown to the side of the van. His mind raced, as options and ideas shot in and out. All of the gadgets on the pack were bark activated. All he had to do was say the equipment name and finish with a bark. Could he break himself out? Was that an option? His question was answered as he caught sight of a gun rack just 2 feet from his pup pack. 4 idle assault rifles rested on its hinges, seemingly venting themselves from shedding blood and deafening violence. Chase gulped and decided he'd stay put for now. The door of the van suddenly opened again, causing Chase to scamper back to his safety corner. He could hear a dog march in, placing one foot after another and lifting its powerful body into the vehicle. The doors were shut behind it, and the puppy's heart skipped a beat as the dog casually walked to the steel bars and looked through. Their eyes were cold and stone, with a hard face riddled with scars. They were brown and black in color, and seemed to be another German shepherd. "Chase, right?" the dog asked. "Paw Patrol Division?" "Yes, sir," the puppy breathed as if fear was blocking his voice itself. "You passed the scan, and so did your friend. Is that a good thing?" Chase gently picked his head up. "It's the only good thing," the dog growled. "Good because it means I don't have to kill a puppy today." Chase retracted his head and slunk back farther. "My name is Cyrus," the dog said. "Captain Cyrus. Now tell me what you two were doing here, now." Chase took a second to gather his bearings, tapping a foot on the ground. He had been brave before in the face of danger, but this was something else. Cyrus was a whole new level of intimidation. His very presence suppressed any action Chase could have taken to stand up for himself. "We were answering a call about a missing woman," he explained, "and her dog." "And?" Cyrus pushed. "I don't know." Chase defended. "I just stayed outside." Rocky went in. "I've already talked to your mutt friend." Cyrus leaned back, unimpressed. He nearly ruined the entire crime scene by cleaning it up. "Do you know how many DNA traces and evidence he could have done away with?" "What have we done wrong?" "You want the whole story?" Cyrus asked, but kept talking. "You are impeding on ACG turf, which is adult speak for getting in the way." "Ack?" Chase asked. "I've never heard of you before." "Of course you haven't. We aren't stationed in this bay, and never have been. But recent events have called us to your location, and you need to stay out of our business. But we were called to help. Chase protested. Sure you were, Cyrus rolled his eyes. These people are so used to a kid and his puppies solving all their problems. But this problem takes more, and the professionals need to take charge now. But we're the Paw Patrol. And we are the Assault and Containment Guild, the dog said, a hint of pride in his voice. We'll let you go, but there can be no more interference or we'll really put you down. Chase looked down sadly. Yes, sir. With Chase's nobility up front, Cyrus could feel himself softening a little. He knew this puppy wasn't an innocent animal who wandered into traffic. As much of a joke as it was, Adventure Bay did have law enforcement. Dogs didn't get a title like that from a prize in a treat box. Listen, kid, Cyrus sighed, I know you mean well, but you need to move aside for a bit. Once we find what we're looking for, we'll clear out. What are you looking for? Chase asked, tilting his head. Classified information, sorry. Not wanting to ask any more stupid questions, Chase tried to ease the tension by asking something friendlier. Are you a German Shepherd like me? The puppy's tail gave off the faintest sign of wagging. The larger dog chuckled. No, I'm a Belgian Malinois. We're a lot stronger than shepherds, believe it or not, and more suited for police work. You are. Chase could feel his heart sinking. Yeah, I thought you were one too, Cyrus shrugged. I guess two breeds look alike. Chase lowered his head for a moment, shuffling his paws. Being so exposed and caged, anxiety was starting to build within him, a feeling he tried to shake by presenting himself as not afraid. His attempts had however failed, and Cyrus's presence, combined with him being a much stronger and better breed, was making him feel sick. You said you were letting me go? The Malinois' smile quickly died, in time. Your friend is still interrogation. Interrogation? Chase repeated with widened eyes, fearing for Rocky. As I said, he messed up the entire crime scene. Chase did not realize that just a couple of feet away, there was another van parked on the side of the road. Rocky, zip-tied and stripped of his pack and uniform, was dragged in and locked in a kennel just like Chase. Even though he had already passed the scans and tests, the troopers had more that needed to be done with him. The walls of the van were thick enough to suppress the pained cry of a dog meeting the edge of a baton. Evidence tampering, mutt, the trooper barked through his mask, swatting Rocky into the wall of the kennel. What are you hiding? Rocky could barely stand, as sharp pain tore through his head, spending what little energy he had to cover his face. The mixed breed could only get so many words out as his quivering studded his voice, and blood spilled from his nose. After he passed the tests, one of the ACG troopers decided to open the kennel and start a rather physical interrogation. I'm sorry. Rocky cried out. You have no idea the setback you just caused. The trooper clamped his paw on Rocky's arm and shoved it away, staring down through his tactical goggles. No one does that out of blind idiocy. Now talk. I just wanted to clean. I like cleaning, the mixed breed whimpered, trying to defend any part of himself. Bullshit, who likes cleaning? Rix, I don't think you're being convincing enough, called the other trooper, chuckling darkly. Probably not, snarled the interrogator, then turned back to Rocky as a metal baton emerged from his pup pack. Let's see how many of your teeth I can knock out. He was interrupted as Cyrus opened the doors of the van. Rix, Marley, that's enough. The two troopers immediately stood tall and saluted. Captain Cyrus, sir. He's not talking, sir. Well, maybe it's because you're beating the hell out of him, he growled. Now get out, I'll take it from here. Yes, sir. The two dogs quickly left and jumped out of the van. Cyrus watched them go, giving a sigh of annoyance. He knew full well of the brutality enforced by the ACG troopers. Every higher-up he sent a report to always ignored it. He eventually realized the cruelty of the soldiers was being pardoned, in favor of their efficiency and success in missions. It was something everyone just had to deal with. The Malinois approached Rocky, who was fearfully cowering in the corner of his kennel. The poor dog was bloodied and beaten rather harshly. "Were you really just cleaning?" Rocky nodded wordlessly. "No ill intention?" The puppy shook his head as his broken voice came through none. "All right, just hold out for now," Cyrus tried to reassure him. "You'll be let go once we make our final reports." Chase and Rocky were finally let go after another half hour. They were left standing on the street. The ACG troopers took the extra care to mindlessly toss out their things, along with their collars and uniforms. Chase was aghast at Rocky's condition, and he could feel his heart breaking as the mixed breed stifled his cries. The shepherd waited until the last car disappeared around the corner before reaching for his collar. His tag was blinking, meaning was trying to call. Sighing, Chase tapped the tag to let it through. "Chase?" Sky could be heard. "It's us, Sky," he breathed. "Where's Ryder?" "Chase?" "Oh, thank dash," she stopped herself. "Ryder got apprehended a few blocks away. I got scared when I lost connection. Are you okay, Dot?" I'm fine, but Rocky isn't." Chase winced, looking back at his brother in arms. "We're coming home. Tell Marshall to get his EMT gear ready."